All right, welcome back to the Fantasy Labs podcast. This is Brian. I'm here with Jay. It's Thursday night. We are going over the Friday slate. Friday being, gosh, what's the date of Friday? November 20th. Man, it's hard to believe it's already kind of pushing the end of November, getting to Thanksgiving, but still rolling strong with the NBA pods and everything. Jay, how's it going, man?
Good, Brian. Doing well. I'm pretty disappointed we don't get to see a Steph Curry Austin Rivers matchup tonight.
I know it's
really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's what the people were hoping for. It is going to be really weird to see Steph go against a point guard. We just haven't seen it in years.
It has definitely been years for sure.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting to see. We're just not used to that. But anyway, we're going to break down the Friday slate. We got a big one. What is it? 10 games?
11
games. 11 games. All right, so we're going to break down all 11 games and move through them. Obviously, we're going to try to get through them as quick as we can, but 11 games is tough, so we'll do the best we can. So we'll start Philadelphia at Charlotte. Looks like the over-under is 193, and Charlotte is 11-point favorites, it looks like. Is that right? Yeah. 11-point favorites, yeah. Okay, so let's start on the Philly side. Obviously low implied points here. Any of these guys stand out to you as possible plays?
It'll depend on Nerlens Noel's status. I think he's technically questionable. He's been having some knee tendonitis problems, so no one for cash except if he's ruled out, then I obviously like Okafor quite a bit.
Yeah.
In the two games that Noel missed, Okafor went for 23.5 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks a game. So he's obviously a cash consideration if Noel's out at just 7,100 on DraftKings.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. Nerlens, man, he had a tough game the other night. He had 4 fantasy points in 24 minutes. So I mean, that's kind of just how Nerlens is. He's pretty boom or bust, but. If he's out, Okafor is definitely a great play. McConnell's been okay. I think this is just around where he is now. He's just a 5K player who's going to give you 5K, production. And so, I'm not trying to get him in, but he's fine. He's probably going to be around where he's been. Covington's the guy that I'm interested in kind of going forward. He's been producing pretty well on a per minute basis. The problem is he's just not getting a lot of minutes. He's been capped around that 20-minute mark. So do we have any idea when that's going to be bumped up or just kind of?
I think they'll just kind of ease him back and, see Stauskas, I doubt, stays in the starting rotation for much longer anyways, but they're definitely crowded on the wing. So it's a wait and see approach with Covington. And then, McConnell, like you said, he's, 5,300. Not great with Pressey back, and he still didn't take a free throw last night either, by the way.
It's amazing, honestly.
I think we should start a Twitter account did TJ McConnell take a free throw tonight? No. Like they do with the Sixers if they won.
Yeah. Did you ever see the I don't know if you follow MLB very, very much, but there's is JD Drew above 200, batting 200.
I do follow MLB. I don't even want to talk about JD Drew or his horrible contracts, multiple of them.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. Years have passed.
True. Yeah. Good old JD Drew. On the Philly side, though, there's nothing that interests me. I mean, you could possibly talk me into Hollis Thompson, who's been above 20 fantasy points in the last couple of games and, played close to 30 minutes. And it's an 11-game slate. There's just not enough upside where that ever is going to be interesting to me at all.
Yeah, you're a bolder man than I. I will not consider him. Noel, if he plays, after his dud last game, he'll be at such a low ownership. I'll have some shares. He's shooting so bad this season, but I expect that to kind of get turned around. And he's a double-double guy with block upside. And if you can get him at 3% owned, I think that's fine.
Yeah, for sure. And His salary is down. It's lower than it's been all year. I mean, it's at 6.5, which isn't a crazy discount. I mean, he was up at 7, so I mean, $500, but I mean, it's still significant enough where you can think about him in some tournaments. He's obviously not going to be like, um, he's obviously not going to be like that bad as he is every year. Charlotte side, who stands out to you?
Definitely, same guys. Nicholas Batum came through pretty huge last game against the Nets, obviously against the Nets, but he gets another good matchup here, playing really heavy minutes. His price still isn't great, but small forward is so brutal. So Philly gives up the most points per possession defensively against screens, and Batum gets a lot of his threes off screens, so he definitely has upside here.
Yeah, he does. 7K is I think that's even still undervalued. I mean, he had that dud the other night against New York, but other than that, he's been up above 45 fantasy points, which is obviously destroys value at 7K. So I definitely think he's fine. I think that Kemba is even a good play at 6'7". Obviously, we're not scared off of the Philly defenders, and especially if Nerlens is out. There's really just no one to deter him wherever he wants to go. So I think Kemba at 6'7" could be a nice play. I don't think he'd be super owned in this big slate either.
Yeah, he definitely has value there. I like him quite a bit as a tourney play. For cash, the other guy considering is Marvin Williams. He's kind of in the same spot as Batum, hits a lot of his threes off screens, and he's been consistent all season. And Philly gives up a ton of rebounds, mostly because they shoot 41% from the field. So Marvin definitely has that double-double upside. He can approach that again.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. I like Marvin. I think Al Jefferson's interesting tournament play, too, at 6 if you just want to be kind of very contrarian, and if Noel's out, there's kind of no one that could really play him. The other guy that I'm interested in is Jeremy Lin, who Lamb was kind of the guy playing off guard off Kemba for a while there, but his minutes have been down a little bit actually, and they've been playing Lin alongside Kemba a little bit more, and he's been up near 30 minutes and has produced about a point a minute.
Yeah, I love Lin for tourneys actually quite a bit. I had him some last night. He was only 3% owned. He's 4,200 right now, and he got 29.75 last night. So you're talking pretty good value there for a guy coming off the bench. And he's also, he's not hitting any of his threes either, and he's still producing. So, Philly can't defend the three. So I look for him tomorrow, Lin being a great option off the bench.
Yeah, definitely. And Frank Kaminsky, you're super on tomorrow, right?
Absolutely. Cash, staple, number one play.
Yeah, even though he did have almost 20 fantasy points at minimum value last game, just throwing that out there.
It's pretty good. It's his ceiling, I feel like.
All right. Enough of Frank talk. All right, so let's move on to the next game. We got the Nets at the Celtics. Let's see the line here. Over-under is 201, so a little bit higher, but not too great. And then the line is minus 8.5, it looks like.
Yeah,
minus 8.5. So Brooklyn's side, are you on any of these guys at all?
I don't like their matchups. Boston has a pretty solid defense, and they match up really well to everyone because they change constantly their lineups. So this is more just for these guys' prices and their production. I think their cash game options on an 11-game slate, I wouldn't play more than one. But I mean, Jarrett Jackson only 6,200, and he's still a great source of assists. I mean, he's top 5 in the league this year.
Yeah.
Takes almost 4 threes a game, so his floor is pretty low. His price, is just 6,200 is pretty crazy. And same thoughts with Brook Lopez. Boston's average against post up, so it's not too scary there. And
72 is reasonable.
72 is definitely reasonable. He's taking a ton of shots, getting a ton of minutes lately.
Yeah.
And then
the guy in the middle, I love Thad for tournament.
Yeah, Thad for sure. I mean, his usage rate is like 23%, so he's been beasting lately. But like I said, they're more cash game plays due to their price than really their matchup. in this game. Boston plays at a fast pace, but they have the third best defensive rating.
Yeah, so it's not an ideal matchup for certain. But I do kind of like Thad in the matchup a little bit because of that pace. He's a guy who actually has kind of elite steal potential, which you don't really think out of, not only from Thad, but just from a guy who plays like him. But, I mean, if you look at his box scores, he's gotten, multiple steals in the last several games. He had 5 steals the other night against Atlanta. So, in a game where it's going to be really up and down, fast pace, I think that, he already has some upside of scoring in double-digit or double-double potential. But I think he could also get 3 or 4 steals, which is a nice little boost in a tournament for sure. So.
Yeah, he's a cash game option for sure. They all 3 of them are. I just wouldn't go,
Because
all
of the
3
slate.
of them. Yeah, it's kind of risky, but definitely they offer some great value there at their prices.
Yeah, definitely. And then really the only guy that I think that we could potentially look at here is JJ or Joe Johnson, but I'm not super on him.
More for tourney.
Yeah, and even then, I'm not like dying to get him in by any means.
No, it's just small forwards, just weak. So you can throw him on some tourney teams for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So on the Boston side, we have Isaiah. He's the most expensive player in this matchup. Actually, he's at 730. Are you interested in him at all? He's getting up there in price, obviously.
Yeah, I still am actually quite a bit. Brooklyn's the 3rd worst team in defending the 3, so he's in a great spot, and gets a lot of his points from driving to the hoop. And I'm just convinced Brook Lopez isn't very good at defense. If Lionel Hollins can't make Brook Lopez good at defense, like he helped Marc Gasol, then there's just no hope. And Isaiah's in a good spot here for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And Solinger at 62 just continues to be way underpriced.
Yeah, he's producing pretty solid in those limited minutes. Double-digit rebounds almost every night. Yeah. So. Yeah, his price hasn't increased to the point where you got to throw him off your cash game consideration list.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing that we have to talk about before we move on from this game is to try to figure out what's going on with the backcourt. So obviously Avery Bradley is back, and we weren't really sure how that would affect things. He was going to come off the bench, and Marcus Smart and Isaiah Thomas were going to get the start. So obviously we thought those 2 guys would be the best plays, but Avery Bradley ended up playing off the bench, but still got 31 minutes and put up 39 fantasy points. So I had a really good game. So I'm not entirely sure what to do with this backcourt right now.
Yeah, Bradley makes for a tournament play for me. Obviously,
Smart
because
still does too.
Yeah, he does. Bradley's just more polished. Smart. Stevens will bench him, out of nowhere, pretty easily. To put Bradley in, better on-ball defender, and I think Bradley has more consistent upside than Smart.
That's true. I think for at least at this point in his career, I would agree with that.
But really, they all gain value if one of them misses a game. Then the other guy will shoot up. But for now, I wouldn't really consider Smart or Bradley, obviously for cash.
Yeah. I think Isaiah is finding cash up top, but that's it. And the other 2 guys are tournament plays. But I still do really like Solinger and cash as well.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely.
Not super on Crowder in this slate. Are you agree with that?
No, I'm not on Crowder at all.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's keep on moving. Next game we got the Pistons at the Wolves, and it looks like. Let's see. Do you have it over under? I don't.
No. Yeah. Detroit -1. 201.5.
201.5. Okay. And Detroit's only a point favorite. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So obviously, we'll start on the Detroit side, and the question's always, do you play Drummond or Jackson? And the answer probably should always be yes. Right?
Yeah. These guys have crazy high usage rates. This is the game I'm most excited to see tomorrow for the Karl Anthony Towns Andre Drummond matchup. Will be awesome. So Drummond's obviously a cash option. It's a good matchup. The pick and roll will be going all night. We'll see how Towns does. Drummond's a beast on the offensive glass, so it's definitely gonna be tough. I almost kind of want to just watch this matchup more than actually be invested in it. So
Yeah.
I will probably fade Drummond. But he's certainly a cash game option still.
Yeah, definitely so. And same with Reggie at 7-7, still very reasonable.
Yeah, he is, and his assists have been down all year, so I'm really high on him in the next few weeks or whatever. But his assists will climb. I don't love him tomorrow. Rubio's pretty solid defender, and
Yeah, he is.
Reggie accumulates so many points driving to the rim, and Cat's a nice rim defender. So I don't love him in this spot. I love him for tournaments.
Yeah.
For cash, I'm not in love with it. There is some risk here.
Yeah, agreed. I think Drummond's both a good play in both, but you're probably right that Reggie is probably tournament only in this regard. And really, that's it for Detroit for me. I know Minnesota is sometimes a team that you might want to target, even though I don't think that's necessarily true this year. They're fairly good on defense, but
yeah, they are. Yeah, like Morris and Ilyasova and KCP. They're tournament options just because they don't use their bench at all, so they have high minutes and they can accumulate some stats and rack up some points. Ilyasova did well the other night. I mean, these guys can get points. You never really know when, but they're tournament options. It's fine. They're going to play a lot of minutes.
Yeah, for sure. So on the other side, on Minnesota side, the question, I think, we'll get to Rubio and Wiggins and those guys, but the question is Towns, how do you feel about him going against Drummond?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. I think he's going to get beat on the glass a little bit, with Drummond so good at offensive rebounds. I think he gets like 6.5 a game. So it'll be tough, but I mean, he doubles more than he doesn't. So he's still in a good spot. Detroit doesn't get their shots blocked very often. So I look for his blocks to go down from last game. His price is pretty, it's fair for sure. And he's a 24% use rate. He was really low owned last night when he went off. So
yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it really was. I think he'll get up there tomorrow. Nothing too high, but I'm kind of on the fence. I could play him and I could not. He's a cash option though, if you want to go that route.
Yeah, for sure. I almost think that he's a cash option, but not necessarily a great tournament one.
He still has that upside, but yeah, I mean,
I'm worried about the upside with Drummond, whereas I think that there's like floor just because of his minutes and usage rate, but
right.
I'm worried about the upside of it. But
yeah, no, that's definitely true. It's a tough matchup with Drummond. Anybody is. I mean, DeAndre got like 16 rebounds, I think, against him, so it's doable.
Yeah, it definitely is. So Rubio Wiggins, Rubio actually almost had a triple-double, just couldn't get enough points, actually. He had 8 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, just couldn't get up to 10 points, which is just such a Ricky Rubio line.
Yeah, and he was only 1% on, too. I mean, that was the night to kind of go at him.
Yeah.
But, he's a tournament play always, just for the fact that he can triple-double, so.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then I think they're going to start taking your advice and playing Levine at the 2.
Are they?
I mean, they should. Levine's at plus 53 in 34 minutes at the off guard spot. So
yeah, I actually think it's a really good idea for them to do it tomorrow. Not even necessarily because of Levine, but because I would assume that takes KCP off Wiggins, right?
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
And KCP is a really good defender. Kind of turned into one of the premier shooting guard defenders in the league. Actually gave Steph and Klay some problems when they played. So I think that just the fact that he would play and he would have to guard Levine actually helps Wiggins. It bumps him up a little bit because that means that he would see more of Marcus Morris instead of a KCP. So that bumps Wiggins up for me a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think Levine will get more playing time. He's playing pretty well, so they kind of have to give him those minutes. And then, Wiggins, for me is definitely a tourney player just because of his lack of peripheral stats. And he does have a crazy high usage rate, and he can score at will. So he has a pretty soft price too. So
yeah.
But like you said, the Pistons have pretty solid wing defense. So
yeah, agreed. But that's kind of it for Minnesota for me. Jang had that big game the other night, but it was only in 20 minutes, and it seemed a little fluky to me. He had 5 blocks and 2 steals, which obviously bumped him up. So I'm off him, to be honest, and that's kind of rounds it out for me for Minnesota.
Yep, I'm with you there.
Cool. All right, so let's keep moving. Getting through this, man. Houston at Memphis is the game, and this is going to be actually a pretty exciting game because obviously Mikhail's gone, and James Harden responded with a 70 burger on DraftKings. So
I thought he got more than that.
what was he at?
I'm pretty sure 80, 84 and a half. Yeah.
84 and a half. Oh man, sorry, I misremembered that.
No, it's all good.
84 and a half. Good gracious. That's ridiculous. So let me pull up the line here. Looks like 201's the over-under, and Memphis is 4.5-point favorites at home. So let's start with Houston. Obviously, Harden, you've got to consider him even with a bad matchup, right?
Yeah, he's got that Tony Allen treatment coming, so he's a little bit more of a tourney play for me tomorrow.
Yeah.
I am high on Houston though overall, not necessarily in this game, but my man Bickerstaff's going to get things done. He already sent Lawson to the bench finally, so
yeah,
they're better with Lawson off the bench and when he's off the sauce too.
True. Yeah, so this is an interesting matchup for Houston. I am high on them, like you said. I do think that kind of shaking things up would be good for them. So I'd like Harden a lot as a tournament play. I think that I'm not sure if he's going to be under-owned because of the matchup or over-owned because of recency bias.
Yeah, it's tough. Memphis has had a pretty terrible defense this whole year overall, but this individual matchup is a little scary.
Yeah, it is. Howard,
I don't think you can really go him in cash right now. He's just got 5 shots last game after getting 10 the previous 2 combined. They're just not going for him. But, and he doesn't have a good matchup in the paint anyways. But he still put up 40 last night, only taking 5 shots.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah, because of 19 rebounds and some other peripheral stuff. But, yeah, it's obviously not something you probably want to depend on in cash. But, I guess if you're trying to be contrarian, I think that people might be off of him because of that reason. So you can potentially, get him into low ownership in a tournament, and that might work out.
Yeah, there are a lot of good centers anyways. I don't think you really want to put him against Marc Gasol, and he's not even getting looks. So
Yeah, for sure. So a guy that I actually really like tomorrow is Terrence Jones. He's a 6K. I still think he's undervalued. He didn't have a great game.
No, he didn't. Did we ever find out what happened with his hand?
No.
He was found in the lobby of the Toyota Center with his hand wrapped. I think he just dapped someone up a little bit too hard. Or maybe he punched Ty Lawson out, just straight
he might have
him or something. I haven't heard anything about it, but he played and nothing's been said. So
as far as what I've been able to tell, just kind of monitoring the situation, it doesn't look like he's in any danger of missing time or anything. So that kind of leads me to think that it's not serious.
Right. I'm just worried about his swag.
Sure.
If he knocked someone out, then that gives him some extra juice.
True. Yeah, that's a great point. But I think kind of the struggles and people maybe even worry about the Rockets is a good spot to target him. And I think that people think this would be a bad matchup, but I think actually Terrence Jones is a really bad matchup for Memphis, not the other way around.
It is. I completely agree. Memphis front court is not that athletic, so.
Yeah, and Terrence Jones can pull them out. And Zebo cannot guard Memphis or cannot guard Terrence Jones on the perimeter. That just ain't gonna happen.
Nope. I also like Ariza in this game.
I love Ariza,
Yeah, I've played him quite a bit this year in tournaments. Just he always has a soft price, and he plays such high minutes. And Memphis is allowing teams to shoot 39% from 3, which is the league high. So small forward also is pretty bad. So he's in a pretty decent spot.
Yeah, I think Ariza is probably one of the 3 most forgotten guys in fantasy in DFS.
I would agree with that.
He's just a guy who's always between 5 and 6K, and is always solid, but it's not going to blow up for 50 every once in a while. So he's not as shiny as some other guy, but he's just always so solid. and always underpriced as a result because he's just so low on. So yeah, I like Ariza perfectly fine. I don't think really anyone. I'm not really worried about anyone guarding him on Memphis.
Not really, no.
Yeah. Anyone else for Houston? That's kind of it for me, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you can't really consider Lawson off the bench anyway.
Thornton's come down to earth, not getting minutes anymore with Terrence Jones back. Yeah, and that's kind of it. Cool. So Memphis side. So obviously we got the two big guys up top. Any interest in them?
Yeah, I think I like Gasol more. He's locked into those minutes, heavy minutes, 38 a game right now. He's going so,
and still 7-1, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean he's great value. So yeah, he leads the league in post up touches, and Dwight's not the same defender he was.
Yeah, I agreed. I really like Marc Gasol in this spot, and 7-1 is just really cheap. Zebo, I'm off tomorrow. Just because his minutes have been down a little bit.
They have, yeah.
And this isn't a great matchup for him, I don't think.
No, he's just not receiving enough minutes, and I mean he's still rebounding pretty well, but yeah, it's not the best matchup, and I mean he still has the highest usage rate on the team, so I think you can get some tournament exposure.
Yeah.
But nothing in cash, and then if Jeff Green continues to start, he's 3,900 on this kind of slate. You kind of need someone. There's not that much value, so I think he's certainly a cash game option. He's produced well the last 3 games.
Yeah, he's got 35 minutes a game, which obviously 35 minutes a game, even if it's not a great 35 minutes at $3,900 is.
Yeah, he's something to definitely look at. He's being a little bit more aggressive. This team needs scoring, so he's going to have to take shots.
Yeah. And then the other guy to me, I guess, we should mention Conley. I think Conley's fine.
Yeah, he's just a little inconsistent, and, now you got Chalmers behind him.
Yeah.
But he is going up against Jason Terry and Ty Lawson, so and he's cheap too. So I like Conley for tournaments for sure.
Yeah, me too. And then obviously, speak of the devil is Rio. Any interest in him?
I'm not really buying him that much. He's not playing that many minutes.
Just shooting hot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that impressed. I'm not going him really.
Yeah, he's shooting really hot. His 3-point percentage has just been super unsustainable. He's shot 57%, 67%, 50%. Like, this is obviously going to regress down to earth. And
yeah, I hope people play him in cash maybe, but his floor is pretty limited with those decreased minutes.
Yeah, I'm not on him at all really. Okay, let's keep on moving. Knicks at the Thunder is the next game, and I don't have a total, but I do have a spread. It's Oklahoma City are 6.5 point favorites. Do you see a total anywhere?
No, I don't have a total. I think, I mean, Durant's ruled out, but maybe that wasn't updated yet.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no total right now.
Gotcha. So let's start on the New York side. We got Melo at 8.5, and then Zingis just a little bit below him. Any of those guys? Poor Zingis. I keep on forgetting not to use nickname. Even though that is his name. Get out of here.
No, he doesn't like it. We need something else for him.
I know. We'll figure something out.
But yeah, they're both tourney plays for me. Melo, for sure. Melo's always a tournament play for me.
Yeah.
He's not even that bad of a cash game play at that price, really. Taking a ton of shots, playing really heavy minutes. He's like a prime tourney play. In this game, he's usually under-owned. Still has a 29.6 usage rate. So we could see Andre on him, though, and he's a great defender. So that's why I'm off Melo and cash. And then Porzingis, his lack of minutes, I just don't think you can really roll him in cash right now, even with his pretty solid upside, last game, obviously.
Are you interested in him in tournaments, though?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he has a high usage rate too, and his rebounding is awesome, but it's really just the minutes is all it is.
Yeah. So is Ibaka going to be on Melo for most of the game, you would assume? Or Zingis?
It's tough to say. I mean, Porzingis might. I mean,
Zinga's just so long.
yeah. I mean, they could honestly put Robertson on Melo too. I mean, he's only an inch shorter, and I mean, really, no one can stop Melo anyways. On the spot up, but yeah, we'll see how they match up.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this would obviously be a much different game if they have Durant to throw at Melo, and then Ibaka could just go on Zingas. But
yeah, Durant crushes Melo in his career, but I'm pretty sure Durant is confirmed ruled out of this game.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But so that obviously changed stuff. So other New York guys, is there anyone that interests you? It's kind of those two.
No, yeah, it's just those two. Flalo went 36 minutes last game, but
I still think there's upside there.
No, he's so dependent on his scoring, and it's crowded there on the wing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Langston Galloway.
Yeah, I mean, with the Flalo back, that's the guy. It kind of kills his value. I guess. It's not a horrible tourney play, but it's nothing special in this game.
Yeah, and especially on these slates where you need such a high upside lineup. I mean, we've seen some crazy tournament final scores, and you just even if a guy outscores his salary at 3K by just a little bit, that still really hurts you.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
You need guys that everyone hits 30 points or more, and then your studs go for 60. In these big tournaments, you got to have massive upside, not just a little bit of it. Okay, so OKC side, Russ up even more, 12-3.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, he just keeps showing out, though. He keeps
warranted. Yeah.
He's still a cash play, really.
Yeah.
But on this big slate with not a lot of cheap options, I think it's a
hard to get
really easy fade for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just going to be so hard to get a good lineup with him in it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really going to happen. I think it's a much better decision to fade him and go for a more balanced team than take risks on guys.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But, same time for tournaments, go ahead, load up on Russ. I'd go probably heavy go over the public on him.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So the other OKC guys, this is interesting. I'm a little off of Ibaka here. 7K is just it's creeping up a little bit for me. I think it's probably fair. I mean, he's been in the mid 30s before that. Didn't play so well against New Orleans, but probably fair. But I am a little worried about Porzingis guarding him. He was just Porzingis is 9 feet tall.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. Yeah, Ibaka's still a tourney play. I mean, especially coming off a horrible game against New Orleans. I mean, Rhino stretched the floor in that game, obviously. Yeah. It wasn't great for Ibaka.
Yeah.
But, he played 33 minutes. He shot 2 for 11. I still do think his usage rate climbs a lot when Durant's out. So, I think some shares of him are fine in a tournament.
Yeah, agreed. And then the other guy that we can talk about before we move on is Cantor. But I don't think I'm going back to that well. He had a great game, 30 minutes, 42.5 fantasy points, double-doubled. Looked Cantorish, what he could do. But I think that was just the nature of them going against a really banged-up New Orleans teams that just didn't have anyone. And it was just a good game for them to get his confidence up. But
right. I agree. And I definitely highly recommended him as a tournament play for last night on the last pod. So he came through big. But yeah, he has a little bit tougher matchup, and the Knicks play at a really slow pace, so not in a great spot right here. But you can still throw him in some tourneys.
Yeah, I mean, he's cheap enough where it's not going to kill you. Certainly. Anyone else for OKC? Is that kind of it?
I'm pretty done with waiters. About 31 minutes, he just can't even make a layup. So. I mean, just get him off the floor.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever play him again, really.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, well, let's move on then. Next game is the San Antonio Spurs versus the New Orleans Pelicans. There's no line, obviously, because we're not sure whether Anthony Davis is going to play. But let's kind of go through it anyway, and we'll kind of talk if and if he plays and if he doesn't. Starting on San Antonio's side, Kawhi's up there. He's at 8-2, even though he's had 3 of his last 4 games. He's been at 40 fantasy points or more, so he's pretty safe. And Aldridge is up at 7K. So of these kind of top Spurs guys, do you have any interest there?
Yeah, I have some interest in Kawhi for sure. He's just a machine out there. He does so much. He's the only guy on the team that you can kind of count on to play more than 30 minutes. And, Pelicans are still last in NBA defensive efficiency. Turn the ball over a lot. Kawhi gets steals, blocks. His floor is so safe. His price is a little, I think that's a perfectly fair price. He still could be considered underpriced. I think he'll meet value. So he's kind of more of a high floor play if you decide to go him. You're kind of going for those guaranteed. You're not going to have to worry too much about Kawhi getting his.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And Aldridge is still a fade for me.
Yeah, Duncan and Aldridge are tourney plays for me. And, if Anthony Davis is out, we could see another blowout.
Timmy had, in 20 minutes last game, he had 12 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 blocks.
Yeah, he did that a lot last year too. Just had massive lines in like 24 minutes. I mean, his per 36 numbers are still, he could play until he's like 80.
That's crazy. So obviously for those reasons, I think they're fine tournament plays. But I think really, you're right. On the Spurs side, Kawhi's the only guy that's cash worthy for me.
Yeah, definitely. And he pretty much is, no matter who they're playing on a nightly basis, he's kind of their only cash guy. Another tourney guy I kind of like is Patty Mills. He's coming off 25 minutes off the bench. If this game turns into a blowout, which, it easily could.
Definitely, yeah.
He can get some minutes. It's just I wouldn't load it too heavy on him because the Spurs can throw 15 guys out there. They're so deep.
Yeah. It's true. They could always throw out DL and let him get confident. You never know. But yeah, I do like the Patty Mills tournament play. And if you're trying to go a couple darts here or there, New Orleans side. So obviously, let's say if Anthony Davis is playing, are you interested in him?
Yeah, for tourneys, for sure. His ownership will be so low because someone coughs on him and he's out. But you can't even play him in cash anymore. If you do, Justin and I were talking, you have to hedge, even if he has a good matchup, it's like you just can't play him anymore and feel good about it. Obviously, this is a brutal matchup. But tournament-wise, yeah, if he plays, throw a few shares in there.
Yeah.
Agreed. He'll be very low owned.
Yeah, definitely. And if he doesn't play, that usually means that we like Eric Gordon. But
yeah, and same thing.
Spurs.
And Drew is back, which sadly means no more Ish. These are the worst kind of days.
Sadly, yeah. But I'm not even really sure what to do with this team at all because I usually in my mind I have an idea what to do whether Davis plays or he doesn't play. Like if he does play, then obviously I like having him in tournaments and I am not too heavy on any of the other guys. But if he doesn't play, then I obviously like Gordon, who's usually underpriced for what his usage is going to be. But this is a matchup where he's going against Kawhi. So,
yeah, it's not great. Whether Davis plays or not, you're still playing the Spurs, and it's obviously not good. Alexei Ajinça had a pretty solid game last game. Foul trouble is his primary. They needed him to play a lot, and he couldn't stay on the court, but he produced a decent line. If Ashik and Davis are out and Perkins too, then he's kind of still going to have to play at least 20 minutes. He has a little bit of tournament upside.
A little bit. And same with Rhino.
Rhino for sure, yeah. If those guys are all out, he'll probably start the game 0 for 8, but he'll have to play a lot of minutes. And
he'll just keep shooting.
Yeah, he'll keep shooting. They obviously will need him to shoot. So
yeah. And like if you're really looking for some fringe guys, if Brow doesn't play, then that means Cunningham's probably going to start, and he'll probably play 25, 30 minutes, and he's not going to explode. So I'm not going to really go heavy on him, but
yeah, his upside is not great.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's keep moving. Jazz at the Mavericks. We do have a line. It is really low, 192.5, and the Mavericks are 2-point favorites. So let's start with Utah. So the top guys here are we got Favors, obviously, at 7'6", and Gobert at 6'7". So any of those top guys, I guess you could add in Hayward at 6'3".
All three of them are tourney for me only. This whole game actually is just tournament. I'm not. Yeah, and the Mavs actually have a pretty solid defense this year.
Which I don't know how.
It doesn't make sense, really. Yeah. And the Jazz they've had such a brutal schedule. This is their 9th road game.
Yeah.
They've already played 8 road games in 11 games. So this, and they're still 6-5. They're a pretty good team, actually, I think.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
But Favors is in a good spot. Dirk's obviously not the best defender.
And he's still 7'6", which is...
Yeah, so for Turney, I think he can have some success in the pick and roll in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And at 7'6", I mean, he does have 60-point upside. We saw just a couple games ago against Miami. Maybe he doesn't have it with Gobert as much because I think Gobert was at that game, but he still has pretty solid.
Yeah, he does. I wouldn't touch him in cash. And then Gobert coming off last game, which was just horrible.
I actually like to target him in tournaments for that reason, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
he still got 40 minutes a game. He had that embarrassing vine where DeMar destroyed him.
Oh, man.
That's dirty.
One of the best dunks I've seen in a while. It was awesome. He took it like a boss, though.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he
gotta give him that.
He tweeted about it after, and it was
right.
He was a good sport about it, but I think obviously he'll remember that and want to come out and
yeah. I mean, he has upside with rebounds and blocks, and Dallas plays at a much faster pace than Utah. So
yeah, and I think he could be under-owned just because of his game wasn't great.
I completely agree. Yeah.
So I think he's a kind of a prime guy you want to target. Obviously, it may not work out.
Hayward too. Same thing for Hayward. I like him in tournaments. He's still playing big minutes. He just can't shoot right now. So I'd rather be ahead of the game where he actually shoots than behind. So I'm going to continue to play him in tournaments at small forward, and one of these games he'll actually shoot better than 4 for 15, and he'll be great value because he's getting secondary stats a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I always kind of like Burks and Hood, but I just never know which guy is going to go.
Yeah, and their tournament plays for sure. Get some shares of Burks and Hood.
But they never go off on the same game, so you take one of each in the lineup, and hopefully one of them hits. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's it for me, really, on the Utah side. They're very they're not top heavy. They're a starter heavy team. So not much value on the bench or anything like that. Dallas side, any interest in these guys?
No, not really. This is a tough matchup, and I'm never on any Dallas guys in cash anyways. I think, you can make an argument for Dirk for tournaments. He's playing at a high level offensively. He's 24.6% usage rate. And
shoots really well.
Yeah, it's just not the best matchup. Jazz play at a really slow pace, so it's not great for Dallas.
Agreed. Yeah. So Dirk is a guy you could potentially look at. I think mostly because of his price is pretty reasonable. Obviously not a great matchup, but and Dwight Howell, your boy, Dwight Howell.
Former boy.
Oh, he's dead to you now.
I mean, Villanueva just had to have a kid and go and mess up everything last night. My Powell exposure.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, and I think a lot of these guys are gonna be interesting at some point this year. Wes is going to be. Chandler Parsons is going to be.
Yeah, for sure. They're just not there right now. Is all it is.
Yeah. And they're just not getting the minutes. So that's it. This game just doesn't have a lot for me here.
Nope.
Okay, let's move on. Suns at Nuggets is the next game. Over under is 205.5. and Phoenix is 2.5-point favorites. So let's start on the Phoenix side. Suns guys, it's always kind of a battle to try to figure out whether to go Bledsoe or Knight.
Yeah,
I pick wrong every time.
I know it's been tough this year with those two. Obviously tomorrow they're both in fantastic spots. Bledsoe just dropped 30 points on them, the Nuggets last week. Gary Harris and Moutier, they're not going to be able to stop Knight or Bledsoe. Moutier has great potential, but he's still raw, and he's just a turnover machine. It's a 16.5 turnover ratio. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So you think Bledsoe would guard him?
Knight.
You think Knight would guard him?
Yeah, but I'm talking just both of them. Gary Harris too is not a great defender. Transition points for both these guys should be easy to come by in this game. Pretty quick, fast paced, and for Bledsoe especially, Nuggets can't defend the three. He's taking 5 threes a game, so he's in a great spot here.
So, steal potential, do you think Bledsoe has more steal potential off help defense, or Knight has more steal potential off just guarding him?
I'd say Knight.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about it.
I like both of them,
I do too.
A lot. Bledsoe's on fire. Knight has crazy upside. This game is really good for Phoenix, for those two especially.
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of both of them, I think. But I just never like any of the other Phoenix guys.
No, Markeith's a tournament option, just coming off an injury. And
I don't even like him in tournaments.
He's way too risky for cash, too, but yeah.
Yeah, I just don't like any of these guys, really. TJ Warren.
It's the backcourt for sure.
Yeah, TJ Warren and PJ Tucker have games every once in a while, but I can't predict them. Tyson Chandler's underwhelming. Yeah, it's the backcourt or bust for me, really.
Yep, same.
Denver side. Okay, so we got a bunch of guys kind of right in the 5-6K range. We got Gallo at 6'3", who has been really up and down. He'll put a 55-point game up there, but be down below 20. So that screams tournament.
Yeah, exactly. And
really, that's just the Nuggets, honestly.
They are. I have them all listed as tourney plays. I think the guy you can make the best case for cash is probably Fareed, just 6K, and he consistently plays better at home than on the road his whole career. And I think he should log solid minutes if he starts off aggressive. And he's really the only guy I would play in cash. You could play Gallo just because he's going to play a lot. He's going to take shots. This is a high total. But PJ Tucker on him is not ideal. I think Gallo shot 2 for 12 against him last week.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm not super on any of these guys.
Will Barton, he's my favorite Nuggets player, by the way, right now.
Oh, really?
Him and Moutier for sure. But Barton, he had his huge double-double against the Suns. And
true.
He's seen his minutes climb consistently, outside of the Spurs game last night, I guess. But definitely an intriguing tournament option for me.
And you can't judge shooting guards against the Spurs. That's just unfair.
Right. No, you can't.
Yeah. So, I do. And at 53, I think he's definitely reasonable. He's not my favorite Nugget because my favorite Nugget is Mr. Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to hype him up, be the hype man.
Yeah, so obviously last spot, if you go back and listen to it, I recommended Jokic because I said he's going to be interesting, and I said I don't know if he'll be interesting tomorrow, but he is going to be interesting. And Jay was like, "Man, shut up, Ryan."
Yeah, I cut you off quick, but
yeah, you're like, don't embarrass yourself.
I just wanted all the exposure for myself.
Yeah,
obviously.
So Jay went heavy on Jokic and won all the money and left me high and dry.
Definitely, yeah. Really, he's obviously very talented. Duncan had great things to say about him. He's 20 years old. He scored so many points off the high screen and roll. It was marvelous to watch. It's just a matter of, I think they'll unleash him soon a little bit, but it's just a slow process.
When,
for minutes, and Nurkic and King Joff are still out, so it's a very muddy situation in the front court there.
Yeah, you just don't know when it's going to be Because, I mean, he got 32 minutes last game and exploded against the Spurs. So, obviously, that's a great sign.
Yeah, it is. And it's obviously enough to warrant some more tournament exposure, especially for tomorrow.
Definitely. But, obviously, but he's very much tournament because the game before that, he got a single minute.
Exactly, yeah. He looked so good, though.
He did look so good.
I would imagine Malone will slowly give him some more time here.
Yeah, you would think so. So, yeah, I stupidly recommended him but then didn't play him. I don't know why.
No, it wasn't stupid, obviously. It was probably the greatest call so far on this podcast.
I swear. So Jokers is interesting, and we'll see what happens with that. Moving on, Clippers Blazers is the next game. There's no line posted here.
We won't know if Chris Paul will play. Yeah.
So they're playing right now. They haven't started yet. Actually, they're the 10:30 game. So, and we are not at 10:30 yet. So,
that's correct.
So Chris Paul looks like he's playing tonight, but we're not sure whether he's going to play on the back-to-back. So a lot of question marks here. So
and same with Redick, who was out tonight, but back-to-back. Maybe he'll play tomorrow. Paul will sit. We just don't know yet. I guess consider Paul playing for now.
Yeah, and if he does, obviously this is a seemingly good spot for him going against Portland. But I don't know, man. Like CP3 just hasn't been the same CP3 this year.
No, and off a back-to-back, off an injury, gets me off him a little. Because otherwise, going up against Lillard is ideal for any point guard. So assuming he plays tomorrow, he's in a tournament spot only really for me, just because he's going against Lillard.
Yeah, and if he doesn't play, that obviously puts Jamal Crawford on the radar.
Right, yeah. If Chris Paul's out, fire up Crawford again with starters minutes, cash, huge usage rate, cheap price.
5K, yeah.
Right.
So he's definitely cash if he doesn't play. And it's definitely a chance that he doesn't. I would say that it's especially he's was obviously battling just to get ready tonight. So definitely keep your eye on that one.
Yeah, tonight's a little bit bigger game than tomorrow.
Yeah. So Blake and DeAndre, what are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, Blake's a cash game play for me in this game with or without Chris Paul. I really don't mind. Portland has a defensive rating of 107.4, and so that ties him with the Nets, who obviously that's not great. Can you imagine if Terry Stotts rolls out, Chris came in to guard Blake or something?
That would be
Blake could have a huge game. I imagine Aminu will probably play a lot of the 4 and guard Blake quite a bit, but Portland's been terrible against the pick and roll, especially without Myers Leonard. So Blake's in a great spot, and his price really is not too terrible. He is on a back-to-back, but that's never really held him back in the past.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that, to be honest. Yeah, and DeAndre is interesting to me. I can never decide whether not having Chris Paul is like a detriment to him, or whether because he's not a guy that relies on usage rate anyway, and he is a guy that relies on Chris Paul to get him the ball in spots. So I almost think it's you would think that it's an upgrade for everyone just because usage goes up, but I almost think it's not necessarily an upgrade for DeAndre. It might even be a downgrade.
Yeah, it could. I like DeAndre either way in this spot. Portland takes a lot of shots, Lillard and McCollum, and the rebounds will be plenty, with Portland's thin front court. And I think DeAndre should have no problem out-rebounding your favorite player, Mason Plumlee.
It's true, yeah. And I think he's fine. I think that, the last time he played without CP3, he focused on his rebounding a lot more. So maybe that's what he does. He just doesn't necessarily care about, the pick and roll as much on offense, and just kind of tries to crash boards. Which is fine in fantasy for our perspective.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what we want him to do, is crash sports, get some blocks.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it for me. Obviously, it depends on tomorrow, but Jamal, Blake, I think are cash plays. If Chris doesn't play, Blake kind of regardless.
Right. Yep.
Blazers side, I think Lillard's obviously is obviously really depends on whether Chris plays as well. I think that if he doesn't play and he's going against Austin Rivers and Jamal Crawford, I think it's obviously a great spot to target him.
Yeah, I love Lillard and McCollum here. If Chris Paul's out, for sure, they're some of the best cash play options of the night. Going against Crawford and Rivers would be awesome. And Portland's had 4 games in a row on the road, so they're back at home, and I look for them to have a big game. The backcourt.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually really like McCollum too. Like you said, I think Lillard, especially if Chris Paul is out, would probably be pretty high owned. And I think that would be warranted at 8.8 is definitely reasonable, and he'd have a big game. But McCollum at like a lot cheaper. I mean, he's over $200 less, or $2,000 less rather, at 6'5", and he's not getting anyone that could guard him. So he could be in for a monster night. So I really like him at lower ownership.
Yeah, if he has Crawford on him, McCollum's great. He's a little bit too dependent on his scoring. And that price is it's a little steep for cash. Just, most times you kind of either want to save at shooting guard or maybe, pay up. Yeah. So he's kind of in the middle. He is in a great spot, though, and I think he'll be decently owned if Chris Paul's out. Yeah,
agreed. I'm fine with Aminu.
Yeah, Aminu for sure in tourneys. I think he'll have to play a lot of the 4. He'll log big minutes. He's great in transition. This is a fast-paced game. It suits him really well.
Yeah, agreed. But that's it for Portland. I'm not going to reach down to any of these other guys came in.
You sure you're not on Plumlee?
I'm not on Plumlee, man.
All right, yeah. No, I'm not on anyone else. Just backcourt and Aminu for me.
Yeah. Plumlee, yeah. I'm never on Plumlee, but
yeah.
But for real, I'm not.
We'll see who Stotts might start Cliff Alexander or something. Someone who's not even there. We'll never know. We'll know like 30 seconds before tip off.
I wonder if he knows.
No, I don't think he knows who's on his team or if Chris Kaman is alive even.
Do we know if Chris Kaman's alive?
No.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Next game. We got 2 games left. Rolling through it. Bulls at the Warriors. Okay. So Warriors obviously on a back-to-back. Over-under is 206.5. And Golden State's 9-point favorites here. So we'll start with Chicago.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Rose's status obviously plays a huge role in this game. Aaron Brooks is already ruled out, so it'll be Kirk Heinrich running the point with Etuan Moore, I think, getting some burn as a backup. So,
Derrick Rose is already ruled out?
No, Brooks is ruled out.
Oh, Brooks is ruled out.
Rose is still questionable. Brooks is ruled out with a hamstring.
Hey, have you heard this thing going around about point guards versus Golden State?
No, refresh my memory.
I haven't heard it either. Justin was talking about it, but I wasn't.
Yeah, Justin goes on and on about how tough the Warriors. They get so many tough matchups against point guards.
Yeah,
Kirk Heinrich, Captain Kirk could shred them up.
I know. Justin talks about it all the time.
I mean, he's only 34 years old. So, but yeah, with the Bulls, I don't generally like going anyone in cash against the Warriors. They're just so good at defense, and they can guard all 5 positions. I was surprised to see Powell and Butler so low owned last night without Rose.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are their main options now, and Butler went huge. Powell didn't do that great, but I think they're both fine for tournaments, assuming if Rose is out. I think you can play Butler in some tourney, and Powell obviously has a really tough matchup, but he'll be relied upon heavily to score, and this is a really high total, and for a 9-point spread, it's not that bad playing against one of the top defenses.
Yeah, I actually I'm not super on Powell, to be honest.
It's a brutal matchup.
That's a brutal matchup, but I actually think Butler. I don't think that's that bad of a matchup, to be honest.
I mean, Butler, his usage rate, if with Brooks out, and if Rose is out too, will be really, really high. He'll be handling some of the point.
So I'm not worried about the match. I'm not sure they have a guy who can really match up that well against him.
I mean, they could throw Iggy on him if they needed to.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
But yeah, he's a tournament player for sure. He can put together a really strong line in this game.
Yeah, unless they put Iggy on him, I'm not worried because Clay's too small. Dre would play him really well, but they're not going to waste Dre on him when they got to deal with Powell and whoever's down low.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess probably maybe a couple of lineups. He's a little bit risky because of the Iggy thing, but
yeah, and Iggy will get a little bit of extra burn with Livingston. I think ruled out, if not doubtful.
Yeah, so that's fair. So, but I still like him as a tournament play. I think it'd be well known because of the matchup, and he's really good.
Yeah, he is. And then you got Heinrich if Brooks and Rose, or Brooks is already out and Rose is out. Heinrich's gonna have to play a lot, but I'm not obviously considering him at all. He made 6 of 7 shots last night. I really doubt that it's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
For the rest of his career, like really, he'll never ever go 6 for 7 again.
Yeah, it's very true. Cool. Golden State side.
Yeah, on a back-to-back, it's not the greatest matchup. Bulls are holding opponents to just a 40% field goal percentage, which is second best in the league.
Yeah.
And Curry's obviously he's a cash game option, but I think it's short-sighted to overlook Heinrich. I know I just kind of ripped on him a lot, and he's 34, but he was a man in his day defensively, and I think the reason still in the league is his ability to run around screens. So I don't think they're really going to hit him too hard. Curry generates a lot of points off the screens, and Heinrich's not a guy to really get lost. He'll be a head coach sooner than later.
Yeah.
So he's a smart player. I don't think he's going to get burned on those screens. Obviously, Curry will be able to crush him, in penetration off the dribble. Heinrich's lost a few steps, but those are reasons. Curry, it's not like an automatic thinking, oh, he's going against a 34-year-old. Heinrich's still not some slouch defensively.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Curry's always in tournament play because he's matchup proof. But yeah, I am a little worried about that. The only guys that I'm like particularly interested in on Golden State, well, there's only one guy really. It's Bogut. I still think at 5'2", he's very reasonable.
Yeah, it's a pretty solid price. The other guy I was looking at was Draymond, just his versatility, and
he's got a huge ceiling, so I'm definitely fine. He's a guy who could triple double. So
yeah, I think he generally has a safe floor as well, and his price it's climbed a little, but 7,400 is not too bad in this game that has a really high total, and it could be relatively close all game.
Yeah, I actually think that they could defend him pretty well, and they're like fairly kind of good at matching up on him. I think they could, kind of depending on how they go. Obviously, Jimmy, they probably want to put on Clay, but
I would imagine so.
Clay's not going well. But I think Mirotic actually could get a couple extra minutes here, and I think Mirotic could defend him just fine. Yeah,
that's possible. I mean, I don't know if this is really a great offensive matchup for Dre, but just his line overall doing everything, assists, rebounds.
Yeah.
I think he's in a pretty safe spot here to not really bust. But you're right. He probably makes more of a tournament play. And on this huge slate, I probably wouldn't go Dre in cash.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But definitely tournament. He does have a high ceiling because he can triple-double and get a lot of peripheral stuff. But
right.
Okay, so let's hit last game. Toronto, LA. Over under 202 right now, and Toronto is 6-point favorites right now. So obviously Lowry is in play here at 8-1.
Yeah, I think Lowry, just throw him in your cash lineup and then work on the rest of your lineup after. Do it like tonight and don't think about it. Lakers are 26th in the league in defensive efficiency.
Yeah.
Kobe's probable, so they're even worse defensively with him back.
Yeah.
And D'Angelo Russell has a 110 defensive rating. You saw Brandon Knight put up a triple-double against him, a week ago.
Yeah.
So, Lowry has a fantastic matchup.
and that same sort of upside too. He has been outside of their last game against Utah, where he had 37 fantasy points. He has been above. I've been above 40, been above 45 really in the last like 6 before that. So just super consistent floor with obviously a lot of upside in this matchup. He's getting a lot of minutes. He's coming off 3 road games where he was going obviously against Utah, a very good defensive team, and then played Golden State right before then. So obviously this is going to be a breath of fresh air going against.
I think he'll be 35% owned in cash on both sides.
Yeah, and
if not more, which is pretty crazy for an 11-game slate. But he just really stands out as a great play at point guard.
Yeah, agreed, definitely. Sticking to the Toronto side, I think DeRozan's a great tournament play.
Yeah, for sure, and I have him as a tournament play as well. He's got a great individual matchup, but he generates a lot of his points from driving, and Hibbert's still a solid rim protector. So, and he's a little dependent on his scoring, but for sure, just overall, the Lakers' defense is atrocious. So DeRozan warrants quite a bit of tournament consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm definitely fine with him in that regard. And really the only 2 guys I'm not super interested in JV are Valanciunas and Carroll.
I am Carroll not so much, but
a little bit JV.
A little bit. Okay. Hibbert's not like a great rebounder or anything, so I think Val can beat him on the glass, and he's got that double-double upside still.
Yeah, so he's okay in tournaments. I'm just always terrified he's going to get like 17 minutes.
17 minutes, yeah. I mean, that's obviously the main thing, yeah. But tournaments for sure, I think, yeah, absolutely. You look at Hibbert and you think that's a horrible matchup, but really one-on-one, pounding the rebounds, it's not that bad of a matchup.
Yeah, agreed. And then 2 other guys I'll touch on for Toronto before we move on. Corey Joseph, I think, is an intriguing play. He's at 4K, which is definitely reasonable. So if you think that this game will be pretty lopsided in Toronto's favor, I think you could talk yourself into close to 30 minutes for Corey Joseph against a bad backcourt, in which 4K he would obviously exceed value in that regard. So I'm okay with him. Scola, I'm not sure. He exploded last game, but that seems a little points chasey for me, so I'm not super on him.
It is. I think my proudest accomplishment since 2011 playing NBA is I've never rostered Scola once.
Wow.
Ever.
Well, you can't start now.
No, I never will. It's like I think I got 2 years, and I was like, wow, this really is going to be my long.
This is your thing.
Put it on my tombstone. I never played Scola.
Wow. See, even if he was getting the start in a 2-game slate at 3K versus, I don't even know, against the 76ers with no Nerlens or
he still wouldn't eat. You just see Patrick Patterson come off the bench and bank Scola and take all his glory. And
there's only 5 players on the team.
Only 5.
And there are 4 guards in Scola.
I still wouldn't play him. Yeah, but I'm with you on Kojo for sure. And he's just he's probably the best backup point guard in the league.
I love him.
Imagine, yeah. The Spurs kind of had to let him go, but I mean.
I honestly thought, and no one agreed with me, I thought they should have gotten rid of Patty Mills instead of Kojo.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But defensively, Kojo's pretty solid. And, yeah, he's in a great spot here. Toronto could absolutely –
Kojo is amazing. Yeah. All right, so last team, LA.
Your favorite player? I mean, I bet you have a Kobe fathead in your room or something. He's just hiding from all of us.
Yeah. You guys would never see it if that were the case. So Kobe, I think, is obviously
he's probable as of now. I'm sure he'll play. They haven't played since Monday, I think. So got some rest. Yeah, Kobe is a tournament play, I think. He's 6,100. I mean, he could shoot 12 for 49 or something.
That's very likely, actually. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's a tournament play just because, like, if you're assuming super, super high usage.
Yeah, he will have high usage, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's no one on this team that you could even remotely consider for cash. Julius Randle, it feels like years ago when he went for 22 and 15. I don't think the Julius Randle ISO is going to work against Toronto.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, literally none of these guys interest me.
No, it's a horrible spot, and I mean they're well rested. I guess Clarkson at off guard isn't that intriguing. He's so dependent on his scoring now.
Yeah, Hibbert's been solid the last 4, but
yeah, D'Angelo lack of minutes. It's just there's really nothing to do here with this team.
Yeah, and Toronto's a good defensive team.
They are, yeah, but like I said, I mean Kobe in a tournament, I don't really know what his percentage will be. I'm sure it'll be really, really low.
Yeah.
But 6,100 is pretty cheap for a guy who just doesn't care about anything, and it's kind of what we want for to target. It's just that he's just simply not good.
Yeah. Who would be the one player you wish had Kobe's mindset?
Oh, yeah, I was just thinking that actually. Kind of like Kawhi. What if Kawhi just seriously took like 26 shots a game?
That's true.
And dominated the ball.
I was thinking Johnny
played like 38 miles. Well, he doesn't need that many minutes. So
it's true. Yeah. Yeah. It's like unfair.
Yeah, it is really.
Yeah. I would love to see I would love to see like Porzingis take 45 shots just to see what.
That'd be cool too. Yeah, let the young boy play, man. I mean, hold him under 30 minutes. I get it. He's still so young, but for me personally, I want to watch him just destroy.
Yeah, you could also go the other way. You could give Austin Rivers or someone 45 shots just to see how many he can make.
He'd maybe break 10 DraftKings points. It's possible.
Maybe.
Yeah, but yeah, I obviously wish I wish Byron Scott coached because he's just the worst coach probably in all of sports right now. I would argue. And yeah, I wish he coached someone who was actually really good and just was like, yeah, whatever. I don't drop plays. Like, go ISO on that. Who cares? Shoot 29 times. I don't care. But with Kobe, it's like he's just so bad.
He needs someone to care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Yeah, we started with your least favorite team, Charlotte, and ended with your favorite team, the Lakers. Pretty cool.
That's right. It just worked out that way.
At least, this was the best slate I've done so far because there was no Scott Skiles.
Yeah, true that, actually. Yeah, we don't have to worry with all that crap.
Yeah, it worked out great.
We did have Portland, but
True.
maybe one of these days we'll have a no Portland, no Magic slate.
Yeah, we missed out on Johnny O'Brien too, which is a little rough, but that's all right.
Yeah. Is there a point playing tomorrow, really?
No, I'd say not. We went through this pod just on the off chance that someone out there plays a slate without Johnny O'Brien. It might be like 2 people, and they're probably going to play head-to-head and use the same.
True.
Good luck.
Yeah. It'll be very chalky. All right, cool. All right, well, good luck, guys. And I guess we'll talk to you Sunday for the Monday podcast. Hope you guys do well tomorrow, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace out, guys.